Have you ever been in a conversation where you completely understand the other person's perspective, and then you realize you haven't actually shared your own? You know what they think, you know what they feel, you know why they feel the way they do, you know where they're coming from. But somewhere along the way, you disappeared from the conversation. You were so focused on understanding the other person that there's very little space left for your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, your perspective, and what you actually want. And you may have wondered or started to wonder, why is it so hard for me to say what I think? Why do I automatically see their side? Why do I feel like sharing my perspective will somehow disconnect us? You don't necessarily need less empathy. You may need to learn how to stay connected to yourself while being empathetic towards someone else. Think about a chameleon. A chameleon changes its colors based on its environment. I have become incredibly good at doing that emotionally, mentally. I could walk into a room and understand how someone was feeling. I could understand what they were thinking and why they believed what they believed and how they saw the world. And that ability can be actually a really beautiful thing, a great skill. It's called empathy. It's one of the strengths I rely on to make it through. But there's a point where I wasn't just trying to understand someone else's reality, I was becoming it. Their fear became my fear. Their beliefs became my beliefs. Their feelings became my feelings. Their perspective became the perspective that I operated from. Somewhere along the way, my nervous system, my brain said, if I can adapt to you, I'll be safe with you. So instead of staying connected to myself while understanding you, I would move toward you. I would adapt, I would adjust, I would find your perspective. And eventually I had to ask myself some pretty basic questions. What do I think? What do I feel? Why do I believe that? What do I actually want? What color am I? Empathy is a skill, right? It's the ability to step inside someone's reality and understand their thoughts and their feelings and their beliefs. And that ability isn't the problem. In fact, right, it's a great, beautiful gift, strength. The problem is when I use empathy to leave my own reality. Understanding someone else's reality doesn't require me to surrender mine. That's been hard for me to learn. Their feelings don't have to become my feelings. Their beliefs, they don't have to become mine. Their perspective doesn't have to become my perspective. I can understand them without abandoning my own. And this is where I think something really important changes. Two realities can exist at the same time. Mind-blowing, right? For me. I can understand why you're angry and I don't have to be angry. I can understand why you're disappointed and I don't have to fix your disappointment. I can understand why someone believes something and I can still have a different belief. I can understand that you're afraid without making your fear my responsibility. I don't have to choose between staying connected to you and being connected to myself. Learning that healthy empathy allows two realities to exist at the same time is super helpful. I can understand that you can have your experience and I can have mine. Because when I stop sharing my thoughts because I don't want to disrupt yours, when I suppress my feelings because yours seem more important, when I abandon my perspective because I can see and understand why you see things differently, when I keep adapting so that we stay connected, I'm not just being empathetic anymore. I'm disappearing. I don't have to become you in order to love you. And I don't have to abandon myself, my perspective, in order to understand yours. See, the fear is that if I do that, I will be disconnected from you. But I don't have to abandon myself. Empathy does not require me to disappear. It doesn't require you to disappear. The pattern is I understand your experience, and therefore I adopt your experience. Well, we don't have to do that. I just need to ask myself, well, what is true for you and what is true for me? And I don't have to choose between the two. I can say internally, I can understand why you're feeling this way, and I don't have to feel that way either. I can understand why you're anxious, and I don't have to be anxious either. I can say, I understand your perspective and your beliefs, and I can have my own. Empathy doesn't require me to abandon myself. I can enter into your reality without moving out of mine. Maybe you've learned to think that being empathetic means making more and more room for the other people in your life. Like listening, understanding, seeing their perspective, making sure they feel heard. These are all important things for me. They're strategies I've used to survive. All of that is great, right? But there has to be room for you and I both to exist in a relationship. We have to know that we can be deeply empathetic and not abandon ourselves. That we can give people space to be seen, to be felt, to be heard, and we also can deserve that space as well. That we can really work hard at understanding someone and not lose ourselves. You can be deeply connected to someone without disappearing inside their own experience. And you don't have to keep changing colors to stay connected. It's a really hard thing for me to understand, and I have to keep working on it, that I don't need to become less caring. I just need to stop abandoning myself in order to care. And when I do so, when I don't abandon myself, I actually can become more caring. I become more present. More of me gets to be there with the other person. And that's where true life, that's where true goodness, true love exists. Is two humans meeting in that space.